I will give you $100 for Collaborator account.
I'll give you £100.
Hello, guys, and welcome to another Collaborator Podcast episode. My name is Alexandra, and today I'm joined by Joe Davies. This is where it all began. Two people take away coffee and draw, used as a table. But over time, Joe realized he didn't want to sell strategy. He wanted to build a product, a scalable link building system, and today that office of fatjoe. Fatjoe delivers about 5,000 links per month. No consulting, no strategy, just links. Before to start talk about link building, I would like propose you to take a small blitz just to warm up. So first, rank this from easiest to hardest to get right. Outreach, content quality, and client expectations.
Client expectations is the easiest. Content quality, next easiest. And then outreach, I think, is the hardest thing to get right.
Yeah, agree. What is the most random niche you ever helped to build links for?
There was a company that was selling feet pictures.
Feed pictures.
Yeah, pictures of
Okay.
feet. So,
Did you
yeah,
work
very
with
weird.
them?
I sent a few of my own pictures. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Would you rather have 1,000 small SEO clients or 10 huge?
1,000 small.
Can you please elaborate why?
I think it's better business wise to have that decentralized kind of reliance on clients. So if you lose one or two of the small clients, it doesn't matter too much. If you lose one or two of the big clients, that can make a really big dent in your income. So I think it's
Definitely.
nice to have a decentralized reliance.
You've been doing SEO, link building, and content for a long, long time. Do you ever feel tired running of the same every day during years and years? Do you have burnout?
Strangely, no. I'm always finding it quite interesting. The landscape changes a lot, and as we can see with the AI stuff happening recently, there's always changes in the industry, always things to keep me awake at night. So I'm always pretty excited by it, and I can't see that slowing down at the minute.
How did you scale for the last few years from 8 millions to 12 millions? I found a video which you did last year, and you mentioned that you achieved $8 million of revenue. One of the recent videos with you on Niche Pursuits, you said that you achieved $12 million. And also you mentioned in your social media that the first quarter of this year were one of the best for you. Please share your secret recipe.
Yeah, so I think we're obviously a dinosaur in this industry now. We've been doing link building a long, long time. We're known for it, especially for our target market, which is agencies. Over the last few years, we've really put our foot down on advertising, even more so than usual. We're doing more expos. We're running ads in America more. We've had a brand new website I say brand new. It's around 2 years old now, but it looks a lot smarter. It's a lot easier to use. The dashboard is really easy. So I think we really kind of focused on our ICP. We're really focused on our back end system now. Our back end system can handle multiples of what we're doing now. So if we doubled our order tomorrow, we'd be fine. Just because of the heavy reliance on the system and the automations. So yeah, I think in one word, I think we've just really pushed on the ads, and we've got the system to handle the scale as well.
Today, I would like to talk a lot about fatjoe company. How do you scale it? Your strategies, how to scale it, and a few words about link building and what's going on, because you as a co-founder of fatjoe probably know a lot about where industry goes to and. The primary question, what is link quality actually mean in 2025, and how has your definition evolved or changed during the last year or decades?
So it hasn't changed much. It hasn't changed much for 10 years, really. Link quality is always going to be, a link that that's unsolicited or looks unsolicited, a link that's a vote for the target site, a link that's some kind of recommendation or mention within context. So, not just a random link in a footer or a sidebar, within some kind of context. So, it could be a blog post, it could be a news article. But if that target site is mentioned in a positive intent, that's a great link for me. And obviously, the website has to be real. I'm not one of these people who really care so much about metrics. I'm not like, oh, it has to be a DR 20 plus with this much traffic and this much trust flow. Um, I just like real websites that real people have made with, the social profiles. They've got an agenda. And that to me is the sign of good link quality. It transcends all metrics and things you can look at in tools. I think you look at a link and you go, that's good or that's bad.
Good, good. And how many backlinks does your company build per month, if you can mention it? I mean, thousands or few thousands or 10,000s, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot. I think it's around about 4 to 5,000 backlinks we're building a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, wow. So, and how did you build a reliable system on working with backlinks? Because it's a huge flow and a huge process, and I'm totally I'm I know that you did good results in your operations inside the company. So how can we build such a system to maintain and to manage our link building flow in and scale this process as an agency?
So I think many of the link building companies, especially the ones that have been around quite a while, have ended up with a similar kind of system.
Mm.
And it's made up of a lot of parts. Obviously, we know with link building, you've got outreach team, you've got a content team, you've got the quality control team, you've got the people who make the placements and check the placements, make payments if there's payments involved. So it's all about plugging all those individual parts together. We used to use Google Sheets, which it worked, but it at some point it kind of broke because we had so many placements in the sheet. So we hired a developer really early on, around 10 years ago, who built us a custom system where we could plug in all of our writers, we could plug in all of our outreach team, um, and we can plug in all the bloggers as well. If we work with bloggers on an ongoing basis. And what happens is, as soon as we get an order, um, the order comes in, the outreach team picks suitable sites for that order. Once the sites are picked and agreed, it goes to the writing team automatically. Once the writers have written it, it automatically goes to the blogger. Once the blogger has published it, it automatically goes to the client or the quality control first, then to the client. So once you know the process, it's a tech problem. Then you've got to get someone who knows how to build that system,
Mhm.
or a team of people who know how to build that system, and yet don't stop until you've closed every single manual job into an automation.
Okay, so the main secret is just to build your processes and try to automate each of them as much as possible, right?
Yeah, I think so. If you can get it on paper or a mind map, then a developer can get it in a live working system or an app.
From your side, what questions should agencies really be asking their vendors?
So I think it's about, obviously, do their link quality guidelines or do their quality markers line up with their own? If an agency's got clients and they're promising their clients certain metrics or certain quality guidelines, they need to ask the link building vendor, do you line up with these? Um, you never really know until you start working with a link vendor exactly what's going to happen or exactly what the quality is going to be. So I'd always say try a small order. Try a really small order on a test site. see what the quality is like, see what it's like working with them. You can ask, for example, link reports, but they're always going to show you the best links they've ever built. So you need to start working with them on some tougher niches. And yeah, I think besides the metrics and the quality guidelines that you can lay out written, I think it's more about testing and seeing what they're like.
And I recently checked one of your latest videos where you said that we don't give advice, we don't give strategy, we are just, like you said, middleman,
Yeah.
right? Something like that. So my question is, what will you do if you see that you have a potential client or lead with losing strategy? So you see the entry form, for example, and you see that the anchors or the keywords of their strategy is really poor. Will you give them advice in such case, or you will just decline such client?
So we do give some very high level advice. If we see clients coming in and they're obviously doing things very wrong, we've had clients try and order 200 links for a web page with the same anchor text, and we have to stop these orders because we kind of say, look, this you don't want to do this. So our team are very they'll give some very high level advice, but if it's something in depth and it's something about strategy, something that needs a lot more work and consultation, we'll refer them to one of our agency partners. So we've got a few clients that work with us. They've worked with us for a long time and they use our links. We'll refer clients often to them and say, look, these people need strategy. They're coming to us directly, but we think they need you guys. And we get the business still at the end of the day because they'll use us for the link building, but they'll be able to give the client what they need. Which often it'll be brands who come to us directly, which we're not really marketing to brands too much, but they still do come because they think they can save money by going directly to the link vendor. But often they'll have a bad strategy and they won't know what they're doing. There'll be on-site stuff that's wrong, so they do need that consultation.
Okay, that's a great transition to my next part of my questions. So I would like to talk a little bit about client education and clients and realistic expectations. So, what's one thing agencies can get wrong when they order links? From your experience, the most typical mistake.
I think one of the most common ones that we see is they order too many links. Think they think if they order more links than all their competitors, they try and get it done in a really short period of time because they're impatient. They look at ranking like a maths equation. They see their competitors got 1,000 links, so they try and build 1,001 links. Um, that's a big one. So there's that, but then there's also anchor text. So we've stopped asking for anchor text now because we just see clients like really, really take it so seriously. They whatever they're trying to rank for, they put that as the anchor text, which used to work. 15 years ago, you could anchor text link 10, 20 links with the same anchor text and rank for it. Um, these days, it's a lot more complicated. I don't think it's really necessary, and I think it's a little bit dangerous to do that. It's like waving a flag. Use an anchor text instead of your brand. It's just I wouldn't recommend it. So what we do now is we just recommend use 80% brand anchors, use some partial keyword ones. But yeah, we still see clients try and build a lot of keyword anchors, which I think is a big mistake.
I think the most typical mistake is to push in anchors when you're working with niche edits or link inserts. Like it's impossible.
Yeah,
If you have a contact with an article to insert some kind of links, it's impossible to put your target keyword,
yeah.
especially in some kind of gray areas. Okay, thank you. And uh, what kind of links would you build for roofing business in a small city? I'm asking these questions just to get your mindset as an agency owner. How would you proceed with such kind of local businesses? Because people who will watch us, they are really interested to know how to scale their businesses fast and easy.
Yeah, so for a local business, depending on the size of the town or the city, most likely you'll need directory links. Getting listed in all the local directories, maybe some industry directories. Most of the time, that can be enough, to start ranking um, organically, but also in the maps. Um, you might need a handful of guest posts, but you don't need high power guest posts. You don't need lots of them. You could maybe manage with 2 or 3 guest posts per month and start seeing those rankings come in. I would say, yeah, it depends on the city. If you're talking about London, obviously it's a different ball game, and you're going to need to treat it like you're up against a lot of competition there. But if you're talking a small town, it's usually you've got very little competition.
Yeah, and what do you think about digital PR? Is it just rebranded guest posting, or is it kind of definitely new strategy?
I mean, there there's levels of digital PR. I think there's the very very white hat style of digital PR where you're creating this really nice campaign and you put it out to journalists and you might get links, you might not. But then there's this like grey hat style of digital PR where you can just obviously pay for an article on a media site from a list, which is a bit like
Mhm.
guest posting, I suppose. The way we're doing digital PR is the complete white hat route, which is super super difficult. I wish we could just do it the high end guest posting route. But yeah, the end result kind of is a it's a link in an article, right? So it is kind of like guest posting or blogger outreach or whatever other link building method. But I think the way of getting those links is different, which makes a lot of difference, really. I think in the terms of like selling SEO as well,
Mhm.
because you can say this is completely white hat. Whereas with guest posting, niche edits, you can't really say it's completely white hat, especially if you're going out and doing scalable guest posting.
Yeah, today I will mention a few times about roofing as an example. So,
Okay.
in case when we have a roofing business and a business owner doesn't know a lot about SEO and then building, and this business owner just heard that digital PR is cool. Would you recommend local businesses to try digital PR? Because I think this is very, very expensive, especially when you're a newbie in a Google search. So
Yeah.
I think we should highlight digital PR and guest posting, and any kind of link building strategy are good, but you should divide your strategies based on your stages of your businesses, right?
Yeah, so I usually look at it in three tiers. So if you're a local business, you probably just need directories. That you probably just need directories and maybe some guest posts, maybe a few little guest posts, but wouldn't even worry too much about it. If you're especially if you're in a small area, and then if you're a national business, you're going to need you're going to need the directories as well, but you're going to need guest posts and niche edits on top of that. And if you're in a competitive niche or you really, really have your guest post sorted, your niche edit sorted, and you're looking to take it to that next stage, add on digital PR. I think it should come after you really established a nice SEO foundation. It shouldn't be the first thing you do as a website or the first thing you do in an SEO campaign. I think it should come a lot after if you've got the budget as well. It's super expensive. So yeah, guest posting and niche edits are going to give you the best bang for your buck, I'd say.
Yeah, totally agree. And now let's talk about what nobody likes to admit in public. I would like to talk with you about where do you draw the line between legged outreach and guest posting farms. Especially, it's important questions for people who do not have enough experience in guest posting. Probably me and you, as experienced people, we can just go to the website and spend about 3 seconds to understand: is it a guest posting farm, or is it a real person website, as you mentioned in the beginning? Let's talk about it.
If you find the site on a list in a spreadsheet from someone, there's a good chance it's come from some kind of PBN or link farm. Not always. Not always. There's sometimes good sites in those in those lists. So you never know, but generally they're probably very easy to get links, and they belong to one person or a couple of people who have got these big PBNs. Um, PBN owners are not very creative. I've found they don't even try and design the site very well. So the logos are usually pretty crap. The design's very bad. The template might always be the same.
Mhm.
So these are like giveaways. You look at the content or the blog posts that have been written, and if it's a PBN or a bad PBN, they're probably covering every single category. So from lifestyle to technology to automotive, mom, dad, tech, they're probably covering everything if it's a really bad PBN. So that's one thing to look out for. You don't really want to be working with blogs that talk about everything, because not that it's inherently bad to talk about everything. It's just it is a giveaway that this site is probably designed to be a link farm. And then obviously there's a notorious Right For Us page. If the Right For Us page is in the menu along with the categories, they are really trying to get people to submit their guest posts and pay for them. So yeah, I would avoid sites that have a Right For Us page so obviously there. Right For Us pages aren't bad. There's loads of legit websites with Right For Us pages. They existed way before us link builders took over the guest posting game. Um, but they just shouldn't be in the menu bar. And also, a really nice one that I like to look for is social profiles. I think
Mhm.
anyone who's got a blog these days, a genuine blog, will have a social profile. They'll have something on Instagram, Facebook. They'll put their face on it. And if you click through to their social profile, make sure it's not just one that's been set up and no posts are on it. They've just done it, for PBN to make it look not like a PBN. So I like to click through. I like to see actually, okay, they've got an active social profile. You can't always get all of these right. Sometimes you might tick 9 out of 10 boxes, and that might be okay depending on the type of service you're delivering or promising. But for me, I like to look at it, kind of like that. Does it your gut feeling? Does it look real? Does it feel real? Has it got a real person behind it?
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, you can very quickly know, as you say, like once you've been in link building for a few years, you get to know very quickly.
Yeah, the only one advice which I can give you, just save those lists and just put a formula to your original list, and just mark down all these websites, because when you see the same websites in different lists, probably that's it. You don't even go to the website, just check it. There is one famous company which calls Run Castle, and they spent yeah, they sent a lot of emails, LinkedIn, etc. So probably all of us see these messages with lists, but they do their job, and probably we can call it some kind of link laundering, because the websites just try to earn some money. This is kind of business, that's all. But your responsibility is to check carefully all these websites, and you even don't need some kind of cool metrics. Just go with your eyes and check
Yeah.
this website. Is fatjoe still heavily reliant on link sales? Does that dependency worry you?
We are primarily link building. We're trying to make a conscious shift away from that. Not because we don't like link building, just because we've got our eyes set on a bigger plan. We want to be more of a marketplace for agencies, whatever they need, whether that's design, whether that's video, whether that's digital PR content. We might look into some social media things and paid as well. So that's the bigger plan for Fat Joe. But link building at the minute seems to be taking up a lot of our sort of revenue because yeah, it's just popular. It's as popular as ever. Does it worry me? Not really. I still think link building will have a place, like even in a post AI world. People will still use search engines. There will be a significant part of people who are looking for information online or looking to buy services who will use search engines, and they'll be ranked using algorithms that we know today. Um, But then when I look at it in the future, and I look at how AI will rank websites, or how AI will, sort of recommend products or services, I think that will also rely on some kind of, I wouldn't say algorithm, but it will rely on some kind of way of recommending those. And I think that will be down to how well the brand is perceived in the world, on the World Wide Web, how well the brand is perceived in blog posts, in articles, in the media, and that will involve some kind of link building or even mention building. So I think link building will exist even in a post AI world. So I don't think we're going anywhere too soon with link building.
True, totally agree because the basic algorithm of Google is based on link building, on citation and quoting, and even for today when we have AI reviews, different SERPs, etc., links are still important because there are so many HTML documents every day appearing in the Google SERP. And anyway, you will need links. I think that we just need to educate how to do it smarter. Because as you mentioned, I also agree that we don't need a bunch of backlinks, but
Mhm.
we need to think strategically about placing links, our keywords, anchors, etc.
Yep.
And I know also that you are not a huge fan of AI. I heard somewhere in some videos. So can you please share your own experience, how you use AI in your daily work, in your teamwork?
I am a fan of AI. I'm a fan of using it, behind the scenes for planning and stuff like that. I'm not a fan of AI content. I think I just I think people are using it too much. They're not like editing it, and it's not just about Google. It's not just about writing blog posts with AI. I think people are using it on social. They're not even editing the output, or if they are, it's very little. So I'm just getting a bit annoyed with seeing that M dash everywhere, because you just know that they're using AI. But in terms of using AI for like planning and ideation, I think it's a game changer. We're using that a lot now in our processes. We're not using it for any client side content or any client side guest posts or niche edits or anything like that. We experimented with it, but we just feel that we don't want to devalue our guest posts or niche edits in any way at all. And if there's any kind of algorithm that detects AI, I'm not saying there is, but we just don't want that to ever be a part of the Fat Joe, experience that, oh, we're using AI content. Um, but yeah, I mean, is there a time in the future where we might consider it? Yeah, maybe. Um, but for now, we're using it for ideation. We use it for ideation for guest posts. There's this site we want to write a post on. It's going for this client. What would be a nice topic? It comes up with a topic idea. We use it for digital PR ideation. Um, yeah, so we are using it a lot, just not for any finished output for clients.
Just to highlight, do not use AI to generate your content. That's all.
Yes, yes.
But there is also one question which I ask everyone: how to succeed at writing content in English when you're not a native speaker. Probably you also have a lot of outsource managers who working with you, but they also are not native speakers. So maybe you can give us some advices how we can determine or detect AI content, because it's really hard. For example, there is a few marker words in the beginning of the text, like in the heart of delve, because and a lot of other words which are not so common in English language for today, but they were common in 50 years ago, for example. So you got the question, how we can deal with it.
Yeah, so we do get a lot of problems with this, or at least we did when AI first started coming out.
Mm.
We have a huge writing team of nearly 100 writers. So it's very difficult to know, who's going to do this kind of thing or not. But we have a quality control which checks um, a few pieces of writers' work every day in an AI checker. So we use originality.ai. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
so we use that. It's not perfect, but it will tell you if it thinks that a piece is AI, and if there's a piece that is likely to be AI, then we check the Google Doc. So all our writers write in Google Docs, and if you check the history of a Google Doc, you can see how it was written. Now, if it was pasted in chunks, then you can double confirm that was AI. But if it was written
Mm.
sentence by sentence, you might start to kind of doubt the AI checker and agree that it was human written. So we use a two-pronged approach. So first of all, we check it in an AI detector, and then we check the Google Docs history.
Ah,
If they
yeah,
if they look suspicious, then we'll ask the writer to rewrite it. You know, so that's how we're combating it, really.
yeah, and also market and bullet lists. This
Yeah,
is the most popular, and putting dots in the end of numbered lists. It's also
yeah.
made by AI. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Okay, now let's talk about how we can scale link building without losing control. Because I think this is the most interesting question because a lot of people can manage some amount of work, but the biggest challenge when you try to delegate this work and try to build your own business. So I think this is perfect block for you. What
Yeah.
systems what systems help you to spot spammy or PBN farms before links go live? Probably basically we mentioned it a little bit before, but how we can scale this management, this system of checking.
We have a big outreach team, and
Mhm,
they're all trained with an outreach Bible, we call it, but it's got some checklists in there.
mhm,
I think there's around 15 quality markers in there, which
mhm,
ask for things like we were talking about earlier. Does the site have a right for us page in the menu bar? Does the site look good? Has it got a
mhm,
well-designed logo? Does the site have a lot of categories? Is it about everything, or is it about one thing? Does the site have an about us page, which is real? Talking about who is the owner of the site. Does the site have social media? And then there's technical checks such as looking at the site in Ahrefs. Says, does the site have a load of links coming in at one period of time, which would point to DR manipulation?
mhm,
Does the site have a lot of branded, an abnormal amount of branded traffic, which would point to traffic manipulation? Does the site have traffic which is going down like pretty quick, which would point to some kind of Google, not penalty, but Google doesn't really like the site anymore. Maybe they've been using a lot of bad content, or there could be many reasons for it. But if the traffic is going down, it's usually a bad sign. There's all those kind of technical checks as well. And if they pass all those and it's a gut feeling, then they'll add the site to our relationships and add the site to a potential order it could be used for. For every site, we rate the site as well. So every site that we work with, we give the site like a bit of a rating, um, and we try and work with the best of the best sites. But sometimes there may be sites where we think it's good, but it's not like perfect. So
and
we're
they
going to
have
put
potential.
their potential, and
Mhm.
they might work for some orders or some clients. So we put those in our relationship database as well. Um, so so yeah, on a huge scale, then in our system, any one person can come in and see the quality of the site, um, when we used it, who we used it for, how many times we used it. It's kind of decentralized quality control. That's how we do it.
I can add that from my experience, just maybe it will be a good advice to people who are listening us. When you're scraping Ahrefs metrics for a bunch of websites, also do not forget to check traffic cost, because
Mm.
as Joe mentioned before, you can see that traffic is declining, but every time you spend Ahrefs credits to check it manually, And as you know, GR, organic metrics, all of these can be manipulated. But the only one which you can scrape is traffic cost. And this is a signal of what Joe just said. It's a signal that website is ranking for real target keywords and it has real branded traffic. So when you have a task to check 10K of websites, probably it will help you. To do this, you can just use any kind of API such as SEMrush, Ahrefs, etc., and just screaming frog. It's easy. It's not cost you a lot, so it's kind of solution which you can use for your work.
It's good too.
Um, Thank you. And yeah, one more question about managing outreach teams and link writers without losing nuances. I'm sorry you talked about it and we are talking about it all the time, but anyway, let's highlight the main points. How we can manage our writers in a very, very good way to scale the business.
Yeah, okay. So again, with everything, it's got to be a decentralized system. If there's any bottlenecks, then it doesn't scale. So with all our writers, they all log into our platform, and there's no manual work. There's no manual scheduling of the work. When they log in the morning, they get 5 to 10 guest posts they need to write or content pieces, and that's automatically delivered to them by the system, depending on the orders we've got. And that goes to one of our QC people after it's been written. Then it goes automatically to the blogger. So our system does a lot of the heavy lifting. And I think, if you look at any kind of writing platform, like some of the old school ones like iWriter, things like that, you know that it's so decentralized that all the writers in there are just picking the work as they need it. You've got to kind of build something like that rather than one person being in charge of all the writing work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point. Thank you. So, are you planning any new services in response to AI trends?
So we are looking at like sort of doing blogger outreach or niche edits, that kind of service, but focusing on listicles. So what we're seeing is a lot of the time when AI generates results, they're relying on listicles. So if someone types in
Uh,
uh,
mhm,
best supplement for running or whatever, best
mhm,
supplement for weightlifting, you look at the sources that ChatGPT uses or Grok uses, and
yeah,
it will be like listicles, like it will be things that bloggers have wrote about in a list.
mhm.
So our idea is, and we haven't done much testing on this yet, but we're starting to now. Our idea is to get the client in as many lists as possible. We're not sure the depths of AI or ChatGPT or Grok or any of the others. We're not sure how deep they go into the web to kind of come up with their recommendations, but we know for certain they're looking on the front page or they're looking on the first two pages of listicles. So we think there's something in there. We think there's some way of like promoting that as an AI service. So we're working on that at the minute.
Yeah, I think this is kind of new type of parasite SEO when you try to get on that listicles by creating a new article, or for example, when you try to get a niche added to that
Yeah.
source which was mentioned on ChatGPT. And basically it works pretty well as for me, and it really drives the revenue and referral traffic when you can monetize after that. So
Yes.
from my perspective, it's one of the most potential link building strategies for this year. Try work with AI SERP, AI review, and just
Yep.
to just try to get mention on that articles because it really works.
Yep.
And yeah, and I also have a few more questions about fatjoe in general, about
Okay.
pricing, positioning, and the value of perception in the AI saturated SEO world. So, um, has the perceived value of links changed over the last 12, 18 months from your opinion and from your experience at work?
I think when the AI content boom came in a couple of years ago, everyone was thinking of link building as kind of that's the main part of SEO now, because anyone can create great content now. So how does Google know which one's the best? It's the one with the most links. So I think there's a natural shift towards the link building value. I don't see that it's got any less, in this recent years, especially since AI has come in. It feels like people are looking at link building as a more of a holistic marketing activity. They're not looking at link building like I want to build links to rank my website. They're looking at it like my website needs to be mentioned across the web, whether it's to ranking Google or whether it's to be mentioned in AI or whether to get referral traffic. People are looking at it like that. So there hasn't been, especially from our end, there hasn't been any perception change. I think the value has kind of gone up a little bit.
Yeah, we just spent a lot of time trying to get AI results, but let's focus on the real real actions because
Yeah,
yeah, I totally agree. Okay, and a few more questions if you don't mind.
okay.
Uh, there were a lot of cases and situations when, for example, you got a client and you did everything excellent according to the brief, according to the expectations, but then Google update comes and the client can say you that it's because of you, it's because of your backlinks. So how we can deal with it without panic? And what's your scenario? How to deal with such situations and conflicts?
So we don't get this often because obviously we offer no consulting and we don't tell anyone how to build links or what links to
Mhm.
build. To a certain extent, we're kind of there as a platform to build whatever links you want. So if anything goes wrong, we don't even know about it, and if anything goes right, we don't really know about it. We kind of our relationship with the client ends when the link is built. But when I previously worked in agencies and we were responsible completely for the results in SEO. There's been multiple times, the Penguin update, where we've woke up one morning, all our clients' rankings had dropped. It was terrible. You can't really you can't really talk your way out of it. You've got to do what you can to resolve the issue. Oftentimes, it will be just a case of resetting the strategy, being realistic with the client, resetting the expectations and saying, look, we're in a bad spot. It's on us. We're going to work for free to fix this, or we're going to work at half price until we get some results back. You got to do what you can to make the client happy. If you are in charge of all the results, if you've been doing everything correct, it's a different story because you're not in charge of Google and what they do. You're not in charge of Google and how they operate. Rankings can change all the time. And I think that starts with when you sign the client. You've got to set these expectations to say, look, we could work for a year, 2 years, and your rankings may not even go up. They may go down. They may get higher. You may get more traffic. We can't guarantee anything. And that's the nature of SEO, and that's how you've got it. It's like a sensible bet. You're saying we're expecting the rankings and the revenue and the referral traffic to go up, but we can't guarantee it. And if the client signs that off, you're fine. But if you're promising the world for something you can't control, that's where people get into some sticky situations.
Okay, so we should underline everything in the beginning of the work with our client to provide the clear expectation and to be efficient with them. Okay, thank you. So I think that's all. Just a few last words.
Okay.
To promote this video and to get a sweet bonus from us, I propose you to leave comments on YouTube. We will choose the most interesting questions, not the random, most interesting questions. One from me and one from Joe. And I will give you $100 for Collaborator account. And Joe,
I'll give you £100.
£100. Okay. Okay, for Joe account, right? Okay, so you can write whatever you want on the YouTube video, LinkedIn, but please mention that Joe is quite busy man, so follow some social media where you see them mostly. Thank you very much for joining me for today. I hope this was useful for you guys. And if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And see you in the next episode. Bye bye.